Hey everyone, so today I want to talk about something that's been popping up more and more, and that is off-grid solar power systems. You might have seen people talk about them on YouTube or social media, maybe in some homesteading videos, but a lot of folks still don't really know how they work or what actually goes into one. And I get it, it seems like a complicated setup, but once you break it down, it's actually really interesting. So here's the plan. I'm going to walk you through how these systems work, what the main components are, and why so many people are switching to them, and how they're different from grid-tied systems. My goal is that by the end, you'll understand the basics of powering a cabin, RV, or even a whole home off the grid. So what even is an off-grid solar system? Alright, an off-grid solar system is exactly what it sounds like. It lets you generate and use your own electricity without being tied to the utility company. No monthly electric bill, no power lines, no backup from the grid if something breaks. You're on your own, and some people love that. To make that happen, you need a few key parts. Solar panels to collect sunlight, batteries to store the energy, a charge controller to manage the power flow, and an inverter to convert it to a usable electricity. Sometimes people also add a generator just in case the sun takes a few days off. And here's something people don't think about enough. Location matters. If you got shade from trees or buildings, your system's not going to be as effective. So site planning is a big deal. People who do this right actually map the sun's path across the sky throughout the year to make sure the panels are getting the most exposure. So let's break down the main components. Let's talk solar panels first. These actually collect the sunlight and turn it into electricity. But the electricity that it turns it into is DC power. Your homes and all your appliances and all that use AC power. So that's where the inverter comes in. The inverter flips that DC power into AC power. So that way it will make it usable for your outlets, your AC units, and all your appliances within a regular home. Solar panels are usually wired in series or parallel depending on how much voltage or amperage you need. Series increases voltage, parallel increases current. That's important when you're trying to match the input range of your charge controller or inverter. Get that wrong and you risk damaging your equipment, or just not getting enough power. Then there's the batteries. These store the energy for when the sun's not out, like nighttime or cloudy days, or in the wintertime when your solar panels actually have snow on them. Most folks use deep cycle lithium or lead acid batteries. Lithium is more expensive, but it lasts way longer and works more efficiently. These batteries are rated in amp hours and voltage. When you calculate the total watt hours, you can figure out how long your system can run your appliances. And that's what's going to be the heart of your energy storage. The charge controller. That's the brains of the operation. It regulates the voltage and current coming from the solar panels to the batteries. There are two main types. PWM, which is pulse width modulation, and MPPT, which is maximum power point tracking. MPPT is more efficient because it adjusts consistently to extract the most power from your panels based on the sunlight and the temperature. Then there's the inverter. It turns the stored DC power into AC power that your regular household appliances can use. There are pure sine wave inverters, which produce a clean signal similar to the grid, and modified sine wave ones, which are cheaper but not always compatible with sensitive electronics. And don't forget about the wiring. Fuses and breakers. If your wires are too small, they can overheat. If you don't have breakers, a short can destroy your whole setup. It's just like a vehicle's electrical system. You don't want something pulling more current than it should without protection. There's also a difference in how people mount their panels. Some use fixed mounts, others use tracking systems that follow the sun. Trackers boost efficiency but cost more and require more maintenance. So depending on the budget, Fixed mounts are the go-to for most off-grid systems. Also, trackers, there's more to go wrong, so you have to keep more parts on hand and have more know-how to adjust all the hydraulic cylinders to adjust for the sun's tracking rays. So this begs the question, why are people going off-grid? So why go through all this trouble? Honestly, there's a bunch of good reasons. Some folks want to save money long term. Once you pay off the equipment, you're basically getting free power. Others want more control, especially when power outages or rate hikes happen in places like California or Texas, where rolling blackouts are becoming more normal. Backup power is a big deal. And more people living way out in the country, sometimes it's the only real option. Running power lines to a remote cabin can cost tens of thousands of dollars, but with solar, you can be totally independent. And there's the peace of mind factor. People like knowing that even if the grid goes down, their lights stay on. Also, let's talk about the sustainability angle. A lot of people want to reduce their carbon footprint. Off-grid solar is a clean energy source. No fuel, no emissions, and minimal noise if you're not running a generator. It fits well with a lifestyle that values the environment. And don't forget, once your system is installed and running, maintenance is minimal. Clean the panels, check the connections, and you're good. It's not as high maintenance as it seems. So, how is it different from a grid-tied solar? Maybe you've seen houses with solar panels, but they're still hooked up to the grid. That's a grid-tied system. It works differently. Those systems push extra power back into the grid. That's great, but here's the catch. If the grid goes down, they lose power too, even with the panels on the roof. Off-grid systems don't have the problem. They're fully self-sufficient. The downside? You've got to size your system perfectly. Not enough batteries or panels, and you'll run out of juice, so planning is key. Also maintenance. With grid power, you call the electric company. With off-grid power, you're the electrician. If something goes wrong, you're the one fixing it. A lot of off-grid folks learn how to troubleshoot and keep spare parts on hand, and that's part of the deal. Another key difference is in cost. Grid-tied systems also often get incentives like rebates and tax credits. Not all of those apply to off-grid, but off-grid folks make up for it by not having monthly bills and being able to use their systems even when the grid fails. So here's a real-world example. I saw this guy online who built a full setup for his cabin. 4 panels, 2 lithium batteries, a 3,000 watt inverter, powers his lights, fridge, and even a small AC unit. He lives there full time and hasn't paid an electric bill in years. Even workshops and garages. Some folks are putting in solar setups to run power tools without pulling from the house panel. And there's one more example. Families using off-grid solar as a backup system. They're still tied to the grid, but they've got a battery and panel setup that kicks in when the power goes out. That hybrid system offers the best of both worlds, reliability and flexibility. So no, I'm not here to sell you on the going off-grid, but I do think it's something more people should understand. It's not just for survivalists anymore. Regular folks are doing it to save money, gain freedom, and just have a backup plan if the lights ever do go out. And even if you never do it yourself, it helps to know how it all works. Solar, batteries, energy storage. All this stuff is going to be part of normal life going forward. So let's kind of revise this a little bit. Let's go through the steps. So first, the solar panel collects sunlight and DC power, then stores it within batteries. It then goes through an inverter system that converts it from DC power to AC power, which all your stuff within your house can actually use. And then, boom, your lights are on from the sun. Hopefully this gave you a solid overview. I tried to keep it real, simple, and useful. If you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you for listening and have a good day.